Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Chair One Home Care. Very glad you are joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And we always appreciate joining us, my friend and colleague Earl Eues. Earl, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Keith. Good to be here this evening.
Appreciate it. So, of course, Earl, Director of Terrebonne Parish Office, Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. And, you know, Earl, it's kind of interesting. I keep hearing these discussions that people have about some people saying, oh, I'm so over COVID. And it's interesting that 2 or 3 of those people have just recently gotten COVID. We've seen a couple of people here now get it, kind of traveling a little more in the airports. It's one of those things that it's here and it's not really going away. We just need to continue to be smart and manage.
Yeah, I spoke to a few people this week, that had COVID the last couple of weeks. The good thing, though, is that when people are feeling bad, they're still taking tests.
Yes, you're right about that. We're being vigilant with testing.
That's correct. And I think there are still free kits available. I think you go on cdc.gov and find out how to receive free kits through the government. But people are, as they're getting sick or feeling bad, they say, well, let me take a test.
Yeah.
And just to see if I have it or not. And if they do have it, they're contacting their doctors. And I want to say they're mild cases, but
it's typically mild cases.
That's correct. I mean, they're not going into the hospital,
right?
To say.
And look, I even had a family situation where a couple of people in the family got it, and all of the rest of the family members each day they were testing just to make sure that they were, and of course they separated, and isolated, better word, and they were testing themselves 3 and 4 or 5 days in a row.
Right.
And I just thought, wow, that's very vigilant for themselves, for other people. And so it's just one of those things. And it's also important to see what you have,
right.
To know if you've got the flu or to know if you've got, because we're kind of in this flu season still.
Right. And and on that aspect, I've also heard that the flu is kind of calming down.
It's starting to.
Yeah, hopefully not be as severe as it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I got to tell you, look, some of the people that I knew had the flu, they were just really sick and really felt terrible. Similarly to some of the first COVID cases and how they were feeling. Now, not the ones who were hospitalized, but they just felt like, man, this just took everything out of me. They say they felt like they got run over by a truck.
Yeah, well, we were all together for the holidays. Everybody was together, so, a lot of interaction. And then we have Mardi Gras coming up. So we're still going to have, be around a lot of people doing Mardi Gras. And like I tell everyone, if you feel uncomfortable, wear a mask. If you're sick, please stay home. Continue to wash your hands, use hand sanitizer in those aspects. I think we have some immunity going around because we've had so many people have had it, and that's why it's not so severe, and not everybody's catching it. So we have a little herd immunity going on with this particular strain.
That's what I heard. I'm just kidding. And so, the other thing that really I think makes a difference is that we've got to be vigilant in larger thought processes. For example, I am in my jobs in and out of facilities. I very often am calling on and seeing people in facilities. Some of them have still masking or have gotten back to masking because of what's happening for them or for some of their residents or for some of those residents' families. And so I find myself in trying with levels of comfort. I've got several masks that have expandable strings on them, and I just wear my mask during the day. I had one here at the station and just kind of kept it. And that's a good thing, I think, for those of us just being aware of where we are, our surroundings. And I will tell you, if and when I go through an airport again, I'll mask through there. Just hearing about a number of people that have gotten COVID just going through the airports.
Yeah. For instance, where my wife is employed, and it's a medical facility. The staff's still wearing masks.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
So yeah, there are some facilities, and I think there are still some restrictions at the local hospital, depending on if a family member is in the hospital with COVID, on whether or not they can see visitors or not.
Right, and again, we all need to kind of be aware instead of and again, that's why I started with some of the people who have made the comments, I'm so over it. Well, we can't be over it because it's not over.
No, I think it's going to be around for a while.
Right, right. And we just kind of, how we manage that and how we kind of deal with that, we just have to be kind of smart about it. And I love the fact that you mentioned that so many people are doing the self-tests, because it says that they're engaged, and it says that they're kind of managing their own health. And we in South Louisiana, present company included, hadn't always done that. And so that's a good thing. We think we see it as a positive sign.
Yeah, and we're seeing a decrease within the parish government employees. Not so many employees getting sick or infected with COVID anymore, but we do still have a few every once in a while.
Yeah, we always have those outliers, right? Those are those people that are going to they're going to go against the grain. We all have those people. That's Harry for us here.
So we still, the vaccine's still available. People
Right.
can still get a vaccine. There is still
And
the
boosters.
forced boosters out
Right.
there. So, if you want to continue to protect yourself, go out and get your vaccine or your boosters if you've already had the original vaccine.
And if people have any questions, they can always go to our website for EOC Updates and those kinds
That
of
is
things.
correct. Our website, the Louisiana Department of Health,
right.
and also the CDC is a great place to go.
Keep doing that. And so one of those things at this time of year, as we address all of those, weather systems are one of those things we need to watch out for. It's one of those things where we've seen it, excuse me, especially this year, but these weather systems now, these winter weather storms, had this heavy freeze that made it some interesting situations here around Christmas. But every time these weather systems come through of late, there's a lot of rain with them, and some of these are pretty heavy thunderstorms.
Yeah, we're getting into that period, when spring starts arriving. We'll start getting some severe thunderstorms and some tornado warnings in the March, April area, which is common for us.
Right.
It's not like we're in Tornado Alley,
Right.
but we do get, some weather systems. And, we've had some over the past couple of weeks that's come through here. And we actually had a tornado touchdown.
That's right.
A few weeks ago here in Houma, which is kind of unusual. We usually don't get very strong tornadoes like they do in the Midwest,
Right.
but we will get what they call an EFF 0 or an EF 1. So people need to be vigilant on those tornadoes and weather systems.
Because I know those aren't necessarily that common down here, but the one thing that is common since the last, 16, 18 months is people living in temporary housing. So many more than we normally have had.
Yeah, and then part of most of the temporary housing is travel trailers or modular home units, and not only is a tornado can impact those, but we also have a lot of what we call straight line winds, which are very strong winds, like a downdraft from these thunderstorms that have produced these strong winds and can produce some damage.
Yeah. And so it's just, again, it's similar as we have these discussions about COVID and being aware. You need to be aware of your situation, and let's have a plan. Always have a plan.
Yeah, and then, what I try to stress to everyone is you have to have a way to get notified if there is a tornado warning. Okay, so a tornado watch means that you need to be watching out. There may be something that may form. Or tornado warning means there is a tornado on the ground
Right.
in your area, and you need to seek shelter. And so you need to have a way to be notified of those things. And I tell everyone you should have a weather radio in your home.
Battery operated.
And then you need to leave it on. You just don't turn it on when there's severe weather.
Right.
Because you forget to turn it on when there's severe weather. But that'll may give you 10 to 15 minutes warning that there is a tornado on the ground headed towards your area, which will give you enough time to try to figure out where you're going to shelter in the event that it approaches your home. And one of the most important things is when you go to bed at night and you have a cell phone, you need to bring that cell phone with you and put it on your nightstand or somewhere close to you in your bedroom, because the Weather Service will use the what they call the WEA, the WEA, the Weather Emergency Alert and it makes this loud noise. I know we've all heard it already.
It's incredibly annoying and wonderful if, in fact, there happens to be a tornado.
Yeah, so they will push that warning out, and you will hear it. It'll probably wake you up at night, and so will a weather radio. The weather radio will only, you can set it to where it only comes on when there's an alarm.
Right.
And it seems like most of the time it's at night. Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll wake us up.
Like the WEA as well.
Yeah,
It's mostly almost at night.
And I do it, I sleep with a weather radio, and it does go off, and I will get up. That's part of my job duties with the parish, just to try to start sending messages out to people, try to warn them as soon as possible. But I can't warn you as fast as the weather radio can, and I can't warn you as fast as your WEA signal on your cell phone. But the most important thing is to plan before there's a storm, to find out where you're going to go inside of your home that is safe, that you can ride out that tornado if you have to. Getting startled at 2:30 in the morning, hearing this thing waking up saying there's a tornado on the ground that may be affecting your home, you may not have the sense to at that time, because you're just getting woken up, to go where you need to find out where you're going to go.
Right. So the two things you do want to wake you up are the weather radio or the WEA alert.
Either or.
Not a tornado.
That's correct.
You don't want that waking you up. Because listen, they're all three can be scary sounds when you're sleeping, but that last one is a sound that can take you or your family's life.
Yeah, and you need to know where you're going to go. And the safest place is a room on the interior of your home that you can ride out the tornado, and then when the warning is complete, and they usually give you a time frame.
Right. Right.
There's a tornado warning from this time to this time, and then when that time's up, pretty much the storm has passed your area, and you can get out of your little shelter.
Right, wherever that may be.
Right.
And for those who are, again, those who are in temporary shelters or temporary homes, modular or campers, figure out how quickly you can get somewhere safely and get there and be safe.
That's correct.
Yeah, very good. Earl, always some really interesting information. It seems like every time you come on, there's something new environmentally that we need to think about. It's why you're such a specialist with environmental services. You're so good at it, at letting us know what we need to be prepared for. And so that's where environmental services meets emergency preparedness, I suppose.
Yeah, and I have a passion for emergency management, so I enjoy coming on and letting people know and giving them hints and tips to kind of be safe in the event that an event occurs here in Terrebonne Parish.
And I love the fact that we can talk about some of the good news, like no-name storms that come to us. I like having those conversations too. We'll stay positive. Earl, thanks so much. We appreciate your time. And guys, don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou Time when we continue.